welcome to Paging Creatives. I'm your host, Bella. Pursuing a creative career can be a frustrating, isolating journey, as we all know. So I sit down with working artists, forging their own paths, taking risks in hopes to encourage and inspire other artists. And I want to build a community of artists where we support and uplift each other and maybe even network and further our creative endeavors. I'm super excited for our next episode number 8. My friend, the beautiful Latina actress and now businesswoman, we're going to call this one the businesswoman, Jessica Vanessa. She just created this amazing Your Serenity Skin, brought us all these cute little products. You guys... you just
it smells bomb. That's actually my girl's candle, Safito's candle. She has her own candle company. We collaborated on that.
I am so super proud. First of all, this is amazing.
It's cute.
So actually, let's start with that. Tell me about this. How did this come about?
Well, I've always been into skincare. I have done so much research as far as because when I was in high school, I had really bad acne. And when I got out of high school, it just got worse. So I've been to so many dermatologists. I've researched so many products. I've used just about every skincare product you can think of. And I found out what works and what doesn't. And I do have sensitive skin. So over time, I just always wanted to develop something that was, for people like me with very sensitive skin, acne prone skin, because you do get breakouts on your chest, your back, things like that. So I just wanted to create something that, is versatile, everyone can use, things like that.
Oh, I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we met years ago on Laugh Mob. And now...
And what's crazy is I still don't remember. You bring it up and I don't remember it.
That is so funny. But I will say that I have watched you and your audience grow and everything. So tell me about how you've you've successfully done something that a lot of people cannot do. And that's integrated and have your following and then also have a successful acting career. You're a working actress right now. You have multiple projects out, and I'm very proud of you.
I'm trying.
Talk about all of that.
Yeah, when I first started doing social media, I've been in the social media game for years. I would say well over 10 years. And I've always wanted to, dip my feet into acting. And when I first started to get into acting, I loved it. And it was something that I've always been passionate about it. I loved entertaining people, but it just wanted me, anytime I booked something, it gave me more, what's the word I'm looking for? More courage, determination, and made me more excited to continue to pursue acting. So the drive just kept going up and up and up. And so I just booked one thing, then that led to another, then that led to another, and I was just booking. And yeah, I get excited every time I book it. I get hungry for more.
I noticed too that sometimes you'll do little skits. So do you, to keep yourself encouraged in between jobs, is that what you do, is create skits, or is that something that you just do for your channel all the time?
I wouldn't necessarily say encouraged, because it's always good to work on your craft regardless. So making skits is just something that creatively, it just helps. It that saying, use it or lose it. So just to keep the momentum going, I'll create sketches and things like that. But of course, it's also my job. Social media is a platform that if you use it correctly, it does pay. So to stay afloat in Los Angeles, I have to clock in to work.
Need all the checks.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much both sides. Helps me creatively, but it's also pays the bills.
Yeah, actors are people who are really serious about it, that are just diehard thespians. They do not like social media people and feel like you've gotten something or it's been handed to you. I can speak firsthand, even trying to grow this channel. I think we're at 56 people. Every day I'll get to 60 and it'll be back to 50. It's difficult. It's definitely a job. It's a chore. It's something that you have to work towards. Speak to that a little bit to people who feel like you're just getting things because you just have these followers.
No. I can see where they get that though, because there has been opportunities that have been presented to me just because of a following. And it's because they want the promotion. So, but I worked my ass off to gain an audience, to gain attention, to create a name for myself. So, when it comes to acting, if they do offer me a position because of that, although I don't like to take it because I just feel like, I don't know, it's a different type of feeling when you actually audition and you work for it and you get that opportunity based, because it's like, okay, the talent is there. I got booked off of the talent. So I get where they're coming from, where it's frustrating, because that is the case for a lot of people. They get booked based off of followers, and it's because, movies and TV shows want the promotion. But a lot of the time, when I walk into casting or I audition for something, I make it clear I don't want them to know that I have a social media. I don't want them to know that I have a platform. And I do it on purpose, because I've walked into audition rooms where they'll ask me about myself. Oh, what's your name? Where are you from? So what do you do? I don't want to say anything that has to do with social media, because then what happens is they get so wrapped around this social media. Oh, you have that many followers? Oh, you do skits? Oh, so and then they forget that I'm auditioning for this movie or this show or whatever. And now they're just so wrapped in this social media world. And it's like, I'm here to audition as an actor. I don't want to talk about my social media. I have that down packed. I know, like, we're not talking about that. Let's focus on this role. Let's audition for this role. So I get where they're saying. So for me personally, I don't like handouts. When I walk into an audition room, I don't make it known that I have a social media. I don't want them to know, because then I feel like they get, in a sense, distracted that I'm auditioning for that, and then they start talking about my social media, and then they categorize me where they're like, okay, thank you for your time, they'll leave, and I know they're like, oh, she's just an influencer, no, maybe not for that role, but we'll give her a line.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, is when they started doing that, they did it with people who just had no idea what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So you can't hit your mark, you can't remember lines, and so then it just made it just a bad rap for everyone. Yeah. Whereas you are kind of an anomaly. You actually are talented. You actually have been in this game for a while. You are an experienced actress. So to lump you in with that group of people who are inexperienced and show up on set and don't know what they're doing is not fair.
And I've practiced. I've gone to acting classes. I studied at Spicer Sturgis Studios for years. I've done my research. I've watched YouTube videos. I've watched auditions from major actresses. Like, I've learned, and I've definitely picked up, and I've been to meetings and I've been to workshops. So I've done the most that I can to be in that acting world, not as an influencer, but as an actual actress.
Yeah. Well, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So my dad was in the military. I was born in Georgia, and I was raised everywhere on the East Coast. The main places that I spent majority of my life was Florida. But it's hard for me to say where I grew up, because everyone, when I talk to people, they're like, oh yeah, I grew up here. And I'm like, well, I grew up in New York, Georgia, Hawaii, Florida. And then, but I've also been to Germany, Puerto Rico, Texas. Like, I've been just about everywhere. So everyone on the East Coast pretty much.
So you were very well-rounded as a kid. Was there anything else that you ever wanted to do, or was it always just, I want to be in LA, I want to be an actress?
I never wanted to come to LA, believe it or not. When I was growing up, I always wanted to entertain people, but I didn't think I would be moving to California. I really thought it was going to be New York. I was like, yeah, I'm going to move to New York, and I'm going to be this star, and da-da-da-da-da. And then as I got older, I learned New York is more theatrical, and it's, performing arts, things like that. And if you want to get into movies and television, that's more so California or even Atlanta. And when I first started to get into social media, and I was even more inspired to, be an actress, and I found out I had to go to California, I actually didn't. I was like, ugh, I gotta leave my home across the country. Like, I was terrified. I was so scared, but I did it, and I'm glad that I did. I loved it. So, but yeah, I always wanted to entertain people. I just didn't know how to go about it.
Did your parents know that's what you wanted to do? Did they support that choice?
Yeah, they're very supportive. They've always, anything I wanted to do, really. It didn't matter, if I wanted to be a meteorologist, a veterinarian, which when I was a little girl, those were my thoughts. I was like, I'm going to be a vet, but I'm allergic to animals, so I can't do that. And then meteorologist didn't pay well, and I was like, But I've always entertained people. I've always captured, like, if there was a spotlight, I was in it. So my parents knew I was going to do something with that, but they were always very supportive, for sure.
I think that's great. Honestly, out of all my friends that I've spoken with, including me, no one's parents discouraged them from entertainment, isn't it? Because I would think someone would be like, no, you're a doctor. No.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Because it is hard. And living out here, it does, it's a costly venture.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say this. My parents, any second they have a chance for me to come home, they'll take it. I know they're always like, so are you ready to come home yet? And I'm like, don't do that. Don't make me second guess. But I know it's just because they miss me.
Yeah.
It's not a discouraging thing. It's not like they're being, like, what are you doing out there? They just want me to come home because they want their kid home. But at the same time, I don't like to hear that because I do miss home. But I don't like to hear that because then it puts thoughts in my head like, maybe I should go home.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, you have to stay out here. How many projects do you have out right now? I want to say 5.
A movie we did together.
Yes.
The Summer with the Guys, that's on Amazon Prime.
Right.
Foster's Law, it's on Urban Flix. And then Dance for Me is on BET+. And then I just recently shot another movie. It's called Stepmother 3. That's about to come out with Erica Mena and Marcus Houston.
That's a very popular series.
Yeah, so it's coming out in, I believe, July. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I play a pretty good role in that too. So. Yeah,
but so I'm right. It's basically you'll have 5 projects out and running at the same time. That is an incredible feat. You need to pat yourself on the back for that. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How do you navigate the business as a pretty young woman? Because even though the Me Too movement has happened, I have still been propositioned by an executive, and I was like, do you not know I could record this and release this? To me, it's like they don't care. So
yeah, I am there. There's been plenty of times where I am overly sexualized, especially when it comes to audition. Oh, she'll make a great stripper. She'll make a great prostitute. She'll make a great. Let's give her a sex scene. And I'm like, and at first I was just accepting of the roles, but now I'm being more stern and putting my foot down, and I'm like, okay, I could do so much more than that. So I almost have to be a bitch. Like,
you do.
I really have to be very stern and be concrete about what it is that I want and what it is that I can do. And I have to realize that when it comes to these roles, granted, Dance for Me, it was a stripper role that I played, but the director, amazing director, he was very sweet. When I auditioned for the role, there was some stuff in the script that he wanted me to do, and I told him no. Like, there's not doing a sex scene, not kissing, not nudity, not, there were certain things, and he was cool with it. He was like, okay, no. And I love when people listen to me and they hear my, they're like, they see the vision. They're like, okay, cool. And I just feel like there's been plenty of moments where that has happened. And if I don't go about it, then they're like, okay, we'll find somebody else. Okay, then find somebody else.
I think that's great. It's about knowing your worth. I had a meeting with a manager. I'm getting new reps. And at the end of the meeting, they said, what's your day rate? And I made a joke, and I just said, we'll work for food. It's not true, but I made a joke. And they were like, no, sweetheart, what is your day rate? Because we need to know and we need to stick to that. And then we need to make sure that we are increasing it. We're negotiating to increase it. And then we will continue to show she's made this, and now we're not making less than this. It was music to my ears, but also just like sometimes it's not necessarily desperation, but you just want it so bad. Like when you said someone will tell you, oh, we'll get someone else to do it. You probably will, but it won't be me. So
then get somebody else to do it.
Yes, just knowing your worth.
No, for sure. But again, I do have to be very stern and put my foot down. And I will say that to any of my friends, or there's a lot of, you know, a lot of my homegirls, they come across moments like that and they'll call me, what should I do? Because they know I've been in plenty of situations like that. And it's like, don't put your foot down, tell them what you will, what you want, what you're about, and then represent yourself as such. So
agreed.
Yeah.
I always close with a closing question. And the question today is, if you could change the world in any way, what would it be and why? I'll answer first, so it'll give you a chance to think about it. And it could be anything. It can be something silly. Mine is, I desperately dislike daylight savings time. And I want to eradicate it. We have voted on it so many times, and for some reason it keeps failing. It's stupid. It's archaic. It doesn't work. It's been proven to create and increase suicide even in certain places. Why are we still doing that? So that's mine. No more daylight savings time. Over.
Okay. I could change anything in the world?
Anything. And it doesn't even have to be, it can be silly.
I really want the cost of rent to be at a very low rate. Doesn't have to be for free, just low, reasonable, because the cost of living is unreasonable. It's unrealistic. My rent is ridiculous, okay? My rent is like, it's too much. And I'm like, who can live like this? You know, and it's depressing. But if I can change anything, I would want the rate of rent to be super low, and I want it to stay that way forever. I don't want it to increase every year. I don't want it to increase because they added new appliances or a freaking refrigerator. I don't care about none of $500. Leave it at such, and that is it. I feel like the cost of living is if I could get free rent, that'd be cool. Like,
that's next level. Honestly, it's great that you said that. That was going to be my third one. So now I got to think of a new one. But yes, cost of rent. Oh my gosh, guys, hear that. Change that.
That is unrealistic. I literally think about that all the time. I'm like, when I first moved to LA, which was like 10 years ago, the cost of living was so much more lower. My rent was it's still a lot, but my rent was probably like $1,000. And now it's way, way, way more. And I'm just like, what the hell happened?
We're paying mortgage rates for rent.
Yeah. And it's not even a house. We're not even owning it.
We don't own anything. It's just throwing it away. We're buying a vehicle, a nice vehicle every year in rent.
That's crazy.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. And I'm so proud of you and everything you've done. Congratulations.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
Instagram, it's JBabyXO. Pretty much if you just type in Jessica Vanessa on all platforms, I will pop up.
And I will link all of those.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Paging Creatives. Please like, subscribe, follow, listen, whatever you're doing. It helps the channel. I really appreciate it. Creatives, your art brings light into the world, and I love and support you. Keep